Hey guys, welcome back to Krystal Klear Ideas. I am so excited to begin and share with you the last video in my beginner budget series. If you have not seen any of the videos in my beginner budget series, I am going to link the playlist right here. But this video is all about the budget overview, and I cannot wait. So this video is all about the budget overview, and I cannot wait. So if you are excited and interested in finding out what a budget overview is, how it can be beneficial to your budgeting system, and what you can use it for, stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to Krystal Klear Ideas. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I am so happy to have you. If this is your first time watching, welcome. Please make sure that you click that subscribe button down below so that you can join the Bling Squad. Hopefully you will choose to stay a while. And if you are an oldie but goodie, thank you so much for returning. I really appreciate you and all of your wonderful comments and support. So this video is all about the budget overview, you guys. This is the last video in my beginner budget series, and I am so excited to share the overview. I was a little torn because it is not the end of the month, so I won't be able to show you the overview for this month of August, but I am going to touch bases about the budgeting overview. So if you are new to my channel, and you may not know that I do have a household planner, and in my household planner is where I started doing my budgeting as of July. It has been working out beautifully, and I have switched up my budgeting system just a little bit. I am still tweaking things here and there to see what actually works for me, but as of right now, I'm really loving this. And so this is what is helping me to stay organized and on track when it comes to my expense tracking, my cash envelopes, my bills, etc., etc. So I wanted to go ahead and share with you the budgeting overview because I still get an opportunity to do that. I am going to pull out my overview from January so that you guys get an opportunity to see what I'm talking about. A budgeting overview is an overview or a cheat sheet or a review of your budget for the month. I love using budget overviews because it helps me to, at a glance, see exactly what I did for my budget, how I ended up, and what I had coming in, going out, and where it went, as well as my balance. So we're going to touch bases about this in a little bit. I also wanted to let you guys know that when I'm budgeting, I like to use erasable gel pens. This one is from Parku. You can actually order it offline. And this is the Frixon erasable clicksters. I love clicksters. I actually have some Parku clicksters as well. But I just grabbed this so that you guys can see that these are both erasable. And I love using erasable pens because whenever you're dealing with budgeting and numbers, you are prone to make mistakes. And I, as an imperfect perfectionist, like things to look a certain way. And so the eraser really helps me stay in my groove. All right, so I just wanted to go ahead and put that out there. Now, when it comes to the budgeting review or budget overview, the budgeting overview, or some people call it a budget review, it actually shows you everything that your budget encompasses on one page. It gives you a review of how you did that month or an overview of how your budget looked for a certain period of time. Now, my budgeting system actually consists of 4 different categories. Now, 3 of them are listed here, and if you watched any of my other videos, you would see this. My bills, my cash envelopes, my sinking funds, and then of course your income. You cannot have a budgeting system without money coming in. So your income, so that you know exactly how much money you have to work with to take care of your budget for the month, year, however, paycheck, however you budget. Now, with the overview or the budget review, I only do this on a monthly basis. And what I like to do is actually pull out the budgeting overview and put them separately so that I can have a quick glance, month at a glance of my budget. So with that being the case, I wanted to show you how I set up my budgeting overview. I always start with income. And I like to do it by paycheck. So what I do is I write down what I budgeted as well as the actual so that I could see exactly how much money I had to work with for the month of whatever month I'm working with. So for this experience or example, it will be the month of January. This is my actual budget for the month of January. And so this is what I had to work with. I also like to have my sinking funds in a section. I have my sinking funds divided up based off of accounts. So I have a main sinking funds account that keeps everything. I also have a vacation sinking fund, which is separate, an anniversary sinking funds, and then my home maintenance, which is also separate, and my savings account, which is actually separate as well. So all of those are sinking funds because these are funds that I have actually saved for a rainy day. Check out the sinking funds video in the series. And I actually like to put a total of how much is actually in the sinking funds accounts at the time, as well as what I'm adding into the sinking funds based off of the month that we're in. And then what I ended up with in all of these accounts. Also, my cash envelopes. These are strictly cash. You can actually check out my cash envelope video, which is linked in the playlist. But my cash envelopes are utilized for groceries, gas, and personal, which total $460 a month. And so I like to do that as well. So what I usually do is I have at the end, because I don't do, at this time I was not doing a zero-based budget. So since I wasn't doing a zero-based budget, what I did is I actually had the amount that I had coming in, my income, which is here, the actual, minus my monthly balance, which includes all of my bills, and that was my total. Then I took my total and I subtracted the amount of sinking funds that were moved to different accounts, and this was what I had to work with. And then after that balance, minus my savings and my sinking funds, that equaled my available balance or my rollover for the next month. And so you will see that this is how I actually do my overview. Now, individuals actually use their budget and review to do different things. Most of it is pretty much the same, but you can track pretty much anything for the month with your budget overview or your budget review. Some people actually use charts so that they can designate their expense tracking and how much money was allocated or utilized for each category in their expense tracking, whether it's food, whether it's bills, whether it's shopping, whether it's eating out, or groceries. So that is something that some individuals may like to use on their overview. I don't do that, but that is something that you can do if you would like. Also, let me show you, I'm just going to skip around here. Let's go to March. This is my budget overview for the month of March. So when you take a look at this, you will see that I have it set up exactly the same way. I have the income first, sinking funds, cash envelopes, and then you see the monthly balance or the rollover so that I would know exactly what I would have as far as funds to put towards the next month. And I like to have rollover, but I am still experimenting with a zero-based budget. If you are completing or utilizing a zero-based budget every month, then this number here, which is actually my rollover number, would be 0 because you would make sure that all of your monies has a home or a place. So this would actually be 0 and there would be no rollover. But that is not what I was doing or what I currently am doing. And so this is rollover. So that was for March. So hopefully that gave you guys a great idea. Also, what I wanted to show you is something else that you may include in your budget overview. Every once in a while, as a tip, this is just an extra suggestion. What I like to do is I like to go ahead and try to see what type of percentage is being spent within my budget on certain things. Now, this is something that is good to do. You can actually include this in your budget overview. I will be including it in my budget overview for this current month, which is August, but I wanted to share with you how I am actually doing that. So, for example, whenever you are renting, buying the place where you will be living, the expense for that, your mortgage, it needs to fall within a certain percentage. So with that being the case, the percentage is 30 to 43%. So, for example, rent / mortgage needs to fall within 30 to 43% of your income. And this is a good range. I'm going to zoom you guys in. This is a good range because it prevents you from being what we call house poor. Anybody that is paying 50% of what they have coming in a month on just their rent or their mortgage is what we call house poor. And you don't want to be house poor. You want to make sure that you have enough to budget and enough to save, and that you're not spreading yourself too thin. You don't want to live outside of your means because that can actually cause problems in the future. So what I like to do, just for my personal preference, I like to make sure that I go ahead and check to see if I'm within these brackets for certain things. Now, some people actually make sure that they want to know what percentage of their income is being spent on certain things, and they have caps. I actually do that with certain things, maybe like some things that are not mandatory or necessary, maybe bills that I can eliminate, like cable. To me, internet is a necessity, but cable television is definitely not a necessity in my book. So I like to make sure that I stay under a certain percentage when it comes to extra things like that. So for rent and mortgage, we're going to go ahead and do this. So the formula is over of equals percent over 100. Now this is the formula whenever you're trying to find a percentage. I just memorized it. It's something good to have on hand and to know so that you can always calculate where you are. Is over of equals percent over 100. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what mine is as of right now for my mortgage, because I want it to stay in between these two numbers as far as percentage wise. So for example, we're going to actually use the numbers for January. So actually, let's do that. So in January, let's see. Okay, here we go. So in January, my mortgage was budgeted at $640. The actual was $641.40. So the actual is the is $641.40. Now, this is the percentage that we're looking for. We want to see what that is. The 100 always stays the same. Now, the of is the total amount of your actual income. Total amount of my actual income for January was $55.34.59. Okay, so that was the total amount for my actual income. So I'm going to actually pull up my calculator right here. And now I'm going to have to zoom out so that I can make sure you guys can see the calculator. Actually, let me just move this out the way. Here we go. Actually, I don't like that because of the lighting. That's a little bit, sorry about the glare, you guys. Oh, this would be better. Perfect. Okay, so whenever you have these numbers, what you're going to do is you're going to cross multiply. So I'm going to make this bigger so you guys can see. This is January. So of course things can change. They haven't changed too much. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to cross multiply and then you'll divide. So 6, and I'm just going to do this for the calculator because you guys, mostly I do this stuff in my head, but just for the sake of individuals who may not know how to do it, I'm going to do it on a calculator. So now we have 64,140 divided by 5,534.59. So now we're going to divide that number by 5,534.59. That's going to give us 11, and I always round, 11.6%. So that is awesome, you guys. This is awesome. So 11.6% of my income is being spent on rent or mortgage. Now, I really like to do this because it helps me to see exactly where I am. Now, for example, let's go right now and take a look at cable. Cable right now for the month of August is $93.66. Actually, let me go back to January so we can have accurate numbers. Cable for January was Comcast. It was $144.67. So, you guys, I didn't pick the erasable one up. Hate when that happens. I could have just erased that, but I didn't even click the right one. Okay, so let's go back. For January, Comcast was $144.67. Okay, $144.67. We're going to divide that now. This is how I do it in my head, you guys. Of course, we see that there's the 2 zeros here. So if you look at the difference between these two numbers, there's no difference except the place value. We just moved the decimal 2 spaces. So if you move the decimal 2 spaces here, then you have the correct number. Do you guys see that? This is how I do it in my head, is I just move the decimal. So 14,467 divided by 5,534.59. That equals 2.61%. So 2.61% of my income is what I pay, what I paid in January for my cable. Now, this is how I rationalize things in my mind. You really want your income to be between this bracket. If it's lower, then you are on the roll. You're doing a great job. That's awesome. That's awesome if you can get it lower. Now, if the percentage for the rent and mortgage should be the highest percentage on your list. So if you go through all your bills and you see what percent you are actually spending in certain things, you do not want anything to be higher than your rent and mortgage. If you have anything higher than your rent and mortgage, then you have a problem, or you want to make sure that you are trying to get that thing down, especially if it's something that's a necessity like your car. Some people pay $600 car payments. If your mortgage is $800, then, that could be reasonable. But if your car payment is $600 and you only pay $400 for rent, that is something that you want to consider when it comes to your priorities and what should be most important and what you want to spend for each item. Personally, that would not work for me. I would not be able to pay more in my car note than I do in my rent and mortgage, but that may work for some people depending on where they live, their income, their budget, and maybe they live at home, so their car is going to be more. So there are factors that you would have to consider. But it's very important to do this because in my mind, 5% is the max that I would ever pay for cable. That is the max. I really don't want to pay over 3% of my budget. But this is like right where I want to be. Now, I did change providers and this has gone down, but I would not do anything over 5% for myself and my personal budget when it comes to Comcast, Spectrum, Time Warner Cable, any type of cable company. I'm not giving them more than 5% of my budget or my income. 5% of my income. So this is actually something that's very good to do, just to see what percentage of your money's made that you bring in every month is being spent on certain things. And if you have or set a cap for certain things, that would be good, especially things that you definitely can actually get rid of. You know, you can't get rid of insurance, water, sanitation, electric. You do have to have those. And these days, having a cell phone, since we don't do landlines, most of us, is a necessity. Especially anything that has to do with your rent, mortgage, renter's insurance, that would be a necessity. Credit cards, not a necessity. You do want to make sure you pay them off if you do have those bills. But, you know, if you're charging every month, then that's not a necessity. Savings, to me, I put it as a bill because it is a necessity in my book. So I do have that. So also, what percentage of your account, what percentage of money is being saved every month? I like the percentage of how much is being saved to be high. So let's check that for January. Okay, so in January of 2019, actually, let's go to March. Let's do March because I feel like I'm giving January a workout. Okay, so in March of 2019, we saved, let's see, sinking funds, $450. Okay, $450. Okay, that's what we saved. So we saved $450. Oh, you know what? We took money out. So that's all we were able to save was $450. Okay, I see. I was like, goodness, I know we saved more than that a month. Okay, well, that's fine. That's because this is March. Okay, our actual income was $43.57.81. And you guys know we're going to add the extra zeros. So that's going to give us our number. This is always through 100. And so we got 45, 1, 2, 3, divided by 43, 57, 81, 10.3%. That's pretty good. I like to keep my savings between 10 and 25%. That's what I like to keep it as. I prefer to do more if I can, but I like to keep my savings within that because I do want to make sure that I'm saving. Now, most people, if you can save half of your income, that would be awesome. But most times a third would be good. But since we have so many different things going on, I'm happy with a fourth. So the 25% is kind of like what I would like. A third would be great, but I am happy with a fourth, so I keep that as my range. And so it would be good to do this every once in a while for your budget overview to check and see what percentage you're paying out for certain things and what you want your range to be, how you can make it better, increase, all of that. Don't forget that the formula is over of equals percent over 100. And this is actually what I'm going to be adding to the back of my budget overview for August. I only do this maybe twice a month. Well, actually twice a year, and I usually do it when I do my expense tracking because then I can see a full overview of things. So on the back of this one, you'll see I had the sinking funds, but for August, I'll have my budget overview as well as my percentages. And if that's something that you guys would be interested in seeing for the month of August, make sure you comment down below in this video and let me know, and I will be glad to go ahead and do that. Make sure, and I will actually film it so that you guys can see me actually put that together. As of right now, my budget overview is awesome. It's working out great. I'm actually using this calendar as my budget overview as well, but I like to have those spreadsheets or those graph paper sheets also for each month so that I'm able to see all on one page what's going on and how things are working out. And if you guys want to see that, don't hesitate to leave me a comment below. I would be glad to go ahead and do a budget overview. with my expense tracking and all that for the month of August and share that with you. You guys, this is the last video in my beginner. You guys, this is the last video in my beginner budget series. I really enjoyed doing this with you guys. I feel like it was very laid back and casual. It was not a lot of information, but it was information that would help if this is your first time doing a budget, so that you would know how to map out the percentages of what you want to spend for each item, so that you get an opportunity to see what your budget overview consists of, which is actually your budgeting system on one page with all of the numbers. And it also helps you with a month at a glance to see exactly what you have going for you, what's working, what's not working, and what can be tweaked or what changes can be made. You guys, thank you so much for joining me in this beginner budget series. I really enjoyed doing this. If you enjoyed it, make sure you give it a huge thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys decide to click that subscribe button and join the Bling Squad and stay a while. We would love to have you. And I will see you all in my other videos. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.